Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to receive future updates.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Bryno's Homebrews here on Bryno's World. Excuse the state of the kitchen at the moment right now. I'm just feeling kind of lazy at the moment. Didn't want to clean out this wok here, which I used for some deep frying action with some wings, which is not going to be on the video, but it was tasty. What I am here though for is this stuff right here, my Imperial Raspberry Porter, which although this video was up last week, this has actually been in the carboy for about maybe 3.5 weeks or so. So the yeast has finally done all of its thing, though I'm still kind of nervous because at the beginning some of the raspberry puree did shoot up. In fact, it's so much, this thing got stuck from some of the puree that went up through here, and so it did spew a bit, but so I'm a little bit nervous that it might not be tasting perfect, but I still got decently high hopes for it. So now I'm here to put this beer into this keg. Before I do that though, I have to empty what's in here into that sink right there. What's in here, I hear you ask? Well, that is the old and terrible tasting orange and blueberry wheat beer that I tried to make not too long ago that ended up tasting like a buttery slick mess. And I hate to dump beer, but I would declare this beer undrinkable. So into the sink it's going to go. And I don't have my CO2 tank with me. I'm just going to use my hand pump here because I don't want to waste any CO2 on this stuff. I've rinsed out my keg and dumped all the junk out of it. About ready to get to racking here. Now there's a lot more sediment here in the bottom. Most of it's just raspberry puree. Might be a little bit of yeast, as there was some yeast action here with the sugars, and again the yeast up in there, so that's why I let it go the extra 3.5 weeks just to make sure it finished its business. So there shouldn't be any crazy flavors with it. And maybe, you know what, even if there is, I think there's enough sugar in here that and raspberry flavor that it shouldn't be an issue. So anyway, I'm gonna try and get as few of these raspberry solids in there as possible. So without further ado, let's rack. That was some bit of junk. I'm going to have to hold it like this to make sure. I'm going to kill it right there. Actually, I think I did good. Again, some bits got in, but not a whole lot. Mostly filled up to a normal level. And for giggles, let's put this hand pump back on. I got this for party purposes, mainly in preparation for a family gathering, which never occurred. If I was going to brew a beer that might not have access to a CO2 tank, this might be useful. But it's going to be useful for this because it's tasting time. So now, let's give this a few pumps. Now this beer is going to be flat, obviously, so oh, that wasn't enough pumps, so. Plus I think there's a leak here somewhere, so maybe in this pump, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the keg. I think it's fine, but anyway, you know what? This will be good for a taste, I hope. Let's get a smell first. I definitely get that raspberry portery, kind of a chocolatey smell to it, which is what I want to smell. Gives me good hopes at the beginning. So now, let's get first impressions on the taste. This is what I'm scared about. Imperial Raspberry Porter. Here goes nothing. The raspberry flavor is definitely present. This is definitely a raspberry beer. I'm not getting an insane amount of sweetness, although that might actually be a good thing. I'm definitely getting a heavy alcohol kind of feel to this, but first impressions are pretty good. I'm trying to find some of that diacetyl butteriness, and I'm not getting any of that initially. But the raspberry flavor, it's not super sweet, but it's unmistakable. I do think some of the yeast kind of fermented some of the sugar, so it's not as sweet as it could be. But you know what? Again, that might not be a bad thing. I may have to wait till this gets cold to get a better opinion of this. But so far, so good. This is nice. But it's only just been kegged. I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow before I give my final opinion of it. So this is going to go into my fridge. Let it cool overnight. And then we'll have one final taste and get our final approval or not. Okay, it's been about 24 hours and a somewhat clogged keg later. That's in the back right there. I think some of the raspberry bits have gotten stuck in there, so I may have to do a little bit of stuff in that. But I did manage to get most of a pint out of the keg into the glass here. Filtered it a little bit to get some of the bits out, but I think it's fine. You know, smell first. I still got that good raspberry smell. Let's see if the taste sticks around after 24 hours. So, here we go. Raspberry Imperial Porter the next day. Ooh, I like this. I'm liking this a lot. Again, the raspberry flavor is absolutely there. It's present. Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. I got a little something on the finish there on the back end. You notice, I don't know if that's just a tartness maybe, but the raspberry flavor was definitely there and present the first time. Maybe we get some of the alcohol. I don't know. It was 9.1% when I did a gravity check beforehand, and some of the sugars in the raspberry did convert to alcohol with the yeast in those 3.5 weeks. So, get a big old gulp there. But again, I think the fact that I used so much raspberry and let the yeast gave it some time to do its thing was the right move to make. Of course, also sanitizing the carboy with bleach also helped out. So, I think it's the inordinate amount of raspberry just having the tartness effect. Maybe it's a pectin thing. I don't know. That's screwing up with the keg, but we'll find out one way or another. But so far, after 24 hours and some of this, I think I'm onto a winner with this stuff. So it's pretty, I'd say, good. Well, that will do it for another episode of Bryno's Homebrews here on Bryno's World. I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you've got ideas for beers I can make on this show, or anything else you want me to cook or make for that matter, leave a comment down below. Otherwise, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell icon to be first to receive future notifications. And make sure to hit the all bell button if you want to get all of them or personalize for a little bit. And if you don't want any notifications, then, well, why are you subscribing in the first place? Once again, thanks for watching, and have yourself a good one. Cheers. That's good raspberry.